Welcome to the final project. The topic that I choose is how to identify root cause of performance issues on Citrix environments that are basically virtualization of apps and desktops. Currently, the problem that I see, and that's something that I do on a daily basis as part of my job, is work with IT administrators, especially for Citrix, and um, they struggle with a quickly identify root cause, a root cause analysis, have a proactive monitoring instead of a reactive, and all different things that are part of the daily operations, like slow logons, session, slowness, application crashes, servers, spiking on high resource utilization on CPU and memory, sometimes network bottlenecks and so forth. So um, out of the market, there are some monitoring tools that generate a lot of data. All this data is available to consume on a SIEM solutions. Some of them are Splunk, there are Uber Agent. There's another products out on the market like Control Up, Next Thing, that gives you all the monitoring solution. But now everything is about observability. So customers want to have these proactive monitoring and also strategic outcomes for cost management and a everything related to what the user experience will be, how is it going to be enhanced. So the key task is to monitor thousands of sessions on real time. We need every 30 seconds. That's a good starting point. We need to detect anomalies, as said before, spike on CPUs and network latency, for example. Root cause analysis, identify how if a user session or a server has been behaving in the same way for the last couple of weeks with historical data, or this is something that it's just in the moment with the process or an application is consuming high resources. And take corrective action. Today, with all the observability and monitoring solutions, they just give you metrics, they just give you data. So this automated way to go one step further and do a self-healing based on machine learning and AI, that is going to make a change in how the IT environments are managed. So the task analysis and insights, AI can prioritize alerts by the impact. It's not the same if one user is just the one that is impacted versus 100 users calling to the help desk, where sometimes is a financial institution that basically time is money, or it could be a healthcare institution where we're talking about lives. So AI can give you root cause analysis and suggestions on the certain application is consuming CPU. And the root cause analysis is because you have a lot of users on the same server, or the users are taking longer than usual on start an session because the profile is too big. So we're going to start doing some integrations with a Citrix has its own monitoring solution that is Citrix Director. Also, the integration with the ServiceNow connector for to automate the creation of incidents and automated workflows, and put all this information on a CM or data lake as a Splunk. Um, what we have as part of the design have a better user and IT administrator experience. Have a how the interaction is going to work. Create dashboards that can walk you through what is happening on the analysis, display the health score. Right now, all the solutions are based on the scores. Uh, those scores is you have a good, medium, or bad experience from the user experience standpoint or on the endpoint performance. So give you notifications. Currently, reporting and alerts, it's a whole topic. So we want AI to send you proactive alerts. As an IT administrator, you don't want to be all the time in front of a dashboard, in front of the console, just looking at when the users are going bad. So you need proactive notifications to tell you that something is wrong, and actually it's the AI triggers something to solve the issue. So, what we need to consider: inputs and feedback, telemetry, all the information that we need, log on duration, protocol latency. In this case, Citrix, its own protocol is the ICA, so that's why I'm putting here ICA latency, CPU memory profile load times. Transparency, that's very important. Uh, we don't just need an alert like, hey, your CPU spiked 100% for the 10 minutes. Tell me why. I need to have more transparency on why my servers are slow, why my users decrease 50% on the user experience log time for the last week. So we can have more, take more actions as part of it. And to be part of the transparency, we need to communicate uncertainty. So risk levels, if it's as said before, high, medium, low, or good, medium, and bad score with a green, yellow, and red a color code. Um, Privacy considerations. We're monitoring endpoints, whether if it's the user laptop or workstation, or then the next layer that it's the core infrastructure, servers, providing access to applications or virtual desktops, or application backend servers. So all that telemetry, we're going to have information about the user session ID, the IP address of the endpoint, type of device, if it's a laptop, if it's a server, the manufacturer, all that happens inside the box. So in some point, or depending on the customer, the security policy, they could feel that we are getting some private information, and that's important, especially with the personal laptops on those companies with bring your own device, where you don't want an agent or a company to be monitoring what you are browsing on the internet, for example. That's very private. So uh, we have to be very careful on what we are capturing, or what type of data the agent is getting, and just make sure that we just get what we really need. What some laws laws that are applied, for example, there are some differences between the European market and the American market, and actually internally in the U.S. there are some states with different local laws. So we just have to be very careful on what state we are implementing the solution. Be very follow the rules. Follow the rules, especially with the security and the type of data that we are getting. Approach always TLS, enable all the security part, especially the security certificates, SSL, and encrypt all the data. That's the most important part. Um, Ethical consideration on all the potential bias. These have to cover the most common use cases. Windows laptops, what is happening with the Mac devices. Some customers, they are doing some cost management with thin clients. Just to give you a few examples, there's a wide thin clients, HP, Agile devices, Unicon from Citrix. So be very specific on the type of endpoint that we are monitoring and prioritize what is affecting the user experience. If we have a single user failures of multiple users, the persona mapping, different types of users, they won't have the same sense of urgency of the same impact when user failures happens. There's not the same when you have, for example, in financial institutions, users, tellers hel- uh, helping customers to manage their money when you have an executive with certain type of a decision making software that they have to have it always available. So just be very keep in mind the type of users that we are working with. And three main topics: fairness, accountability, and transparency. So we need to train the models on different endpoints just to make a little bit more emphasis of what we discussed previously. Accountability, just keep the human in the loop. We are in a phase where we are training the models. We're going to start using the AI and provide that insights, that data, that analysis to the IT administrator to take the right decision at the right time. AI is going to automate all the stuff, but we have to be very careful on at what time this is applied. If we train a model to apply a server reboot because the CPU has spiked for 10 minutes to 80%, probably one of our users is doing something important, is running a report, doing a transaction. And if we just trigger a server reboot, everything's going to be lost. So we still need to keep the human in the loop just to validate the suggestion, just acknowledge that the next step taken from the AI is the correct one. And transparency, a documentation. We need to add more details of what is happening, why the predictions were made, what were the decision points to take the action, how we are triggering self-healing actions, all the automated workflows based on the behavior on this in this solution.